So you want to build your dream home and you've never done this before. What's the process? What are the steps? What do I need to know? That's what we're talking about today. Hi guys, I'm Carlos Colon. I'm going to be walking you through this. So, there's really a steep three-step process that I'm going to break this down to. Okay? Step 1, pre-approving. Step 2, buying land. Step 3, start the construction. It sounds easier than it is, okay? And all kinds of things, if you're not prepared for this, could really blow your budget out of the water. And so this is why resale homes typically sell so much better than new construction, is because when you go down the new construction route, a custom construction rather, your cost, you might estimate 300 and you might end up by 400 or 500,000 by the end of it. So you want to be very careful when you're doing this. All right, I'm going to walk you down the simplistic steps that you need to know. And then if you want to take it a step deeper, definitely give us a call and we'll talk it through. All right, so step 1, pre-approve. This is going to be just like a pre-approval for a resale home. It's no different. They're going to look at your income, they're going to look at your debt, they're going to look at your debt to income ratio, compare them against each other, and your credit scores. They're going to say you can afford a maximum of this amount. Okay? Now, with that said, not every lender has the same products when it comes to new construction. So you need to be very careful who you're speaking with and what products meaning mortgages, they have available for a new construction, or at least a custom construction. We're not talking about cookie cutter subdivisions. When we're talking new construction in this video, we're talking about you want to buy a piece of land and build your perfect home on it. And so I just want to make sure we're clear on that. So, step 1, pre-approve. So you give them all your documents, they come back, they say your maximum is this, okay? Really, we then need to decide what kind of mortgage we want for new construction. Now, this is where we get to a couple different things. Number 1, we can do just a regular construction loan, all right? That's probably one of the more popular ones, which is your typical 20% down payment on it. And what they do is, during that process, they go ahead and purchase the land, and then at that point, you've got an estimate on what your new home is going to cost, and they start doing draws in order to get that new construction completed. Now, the beautiful part about that kind of loan is you kind of have an estimate you're working with from the beginning, but if you need to tweak it, whether it be down or in most cases up, you can, okay? The next option is a construction to perm loan. That is not the same thing, okay? And it works very differently. There's a lot more paperwork involved, number 1. Number 2, it's very strict when it comes to the amount of financing that you're going to be given for the new construction. The reason why this is important is because you only have one closing, okay? What that means is, you sit down, and on the front side, you've already decided how much you're purchasing the land for and how much is budgeted for the new construction build. And typically, that number will not change in this type of loan. That means that we are closing one time. There's only cost for that one closing. So, you close that one time, now you own the land, wonderful. And now they're doing draws, your contractor or your builder's doing draws in order to build your home. By the time they're completed, that loan switches to a permanent loan automatically, okay? Whereas a regular construction loan has 2 closings. You close the first time, which buys the land and starts the construction, and then the second closing is where you've completed the new construction process and they're refinancing the whole thing into one bundle, and sometimes they sell it out to another mortgage company or something like that, all right? Now, what we haven't talked about yet is going to be your timing involved for all this, because it takes months and months and months to do it this way. It's not a typical 3 months and done. All right, so we're talking about sometimes 5, 6, or sometimes a year. 5 or 6 months to a year, depending on how you've got it set up, and also interviewing builders and contractors to make sure that you're hiring someone qualified to do the quality job that you want. Okay, so what we need to talk about is also the timing. So what if I just want to buy the land this year and I'll work out how I want to build it down the line? That's okay too. But not every lender will allow you to just buy land. So now we have to go to a lender that specifically does land purchases. Land purchases aren't very hard. They're not difficult at all. But we also want to make sure that we've gone through the process, and this is why working with an agent is important, to make sure that whatever you want to do with that land in the future is doable. You say you want to build a home on it? Great. Does the land perk? And if so, where? What that means is, can I set up a septic tank on this property and it be okay for the future build that I might do 3 years down the line? If the answer is no, that tells you, okay, well, if I'm using it for hunting, that's not a big deal. But if I want to build a house on that, that might be a problem if I can't set up my septic tank there. Now, for all I know, you might have sewer available, and that's not a big deal either. But we want to know these things on the front side. You don't want to just buy the land and then be done with it. The second thing is just all the utilities in general. So when it comes to water and so forth, your agent's job is to walk you through the things that you wouldn't normally ask or think about. So make sure that you ask these questions. All right, let's move to step 2, buying the land. Okay, when you're buying the land, so let's say you've gotten pre-approved now, and you're going, okay, great, I know what my budget is. Let me go buy, let's say you're pre-approved for $400,000 maximum. I want to go look for land. Let me look for land up to $400,000. Well, unless you're planning on planting a tent or a teepee on your land to live in, that's not the best plan. So we want to be very careful on how we do this. Number 1, how many acres do we really want, ideally? Number 2, what do we want from this land? And so this is where we get to the features of the land. So if I want a pond, I want to be able to fish, or I want to be able to hunt on it, wonderful. But if I just want a clearing and just land for my kids to play in, that's not the same thing. So we want to make sure that we're buying land that's specific to your needs and your wants. All right? And so stick to those guidelines. Now, the more important part of it is also to make sure that you remember, if you've been pre-approved for $400,000, you need to budget for the land and the new construction within that price. I get a lot of people that will go, I bought the land, it cost me $300,000, I just got to build a $100,000 house on it. And to be perfectly honest, maybe 30 years ago that was possible. That's not possible today. There's no way. And so we've just got to be very, very careful on how we do this. So plan accordingly. Make sure you know what your monthly payments are going to be in the end. Make sure you know what to expect in the end result. And then also make sure that you're hiring a builder that's going to stick as closely as possible to that budget that you've given them. So if I'm a maximum of $400,000, but I want to keep my payment a certain amount that keeps me to $300,000 maximum, I need to prepare for my new construction to cost somewhere between $200, $250. Maybe that difference can be used for the land, and that's my budget. Make sure you understand those guidelines. Plan accordingly, okay? And so step 3, begin the construction. So typically by this point we've had our closing, or first closing, depending on which kind of loan I'm using, and then at that point the builder's getting to work. Okay, so there's a lot of in-betweens with this, as you can imagine, which is why I don't want to go into too many of the details, but it can get very detail-oriented. Custom is custom, remember that. And so we want to make sure that all the details are in that contract with your builder. All right, so at the end, just remember, which type of loan am I using? Is it going to have a second closing, or is it automatically switching to a permanent loan? Those are the details that are involved in this, and so those are the simplest 3 steps I can really break this down to. Pre-approve, buy the land, start the construction, and then we've got to work through each individual step to make sure that we're protected on this. All right, so I'm Carlos Colon with Georgia Perimeter Homes. If you have any questions about the subject that we covered today, or you want any help with a new construction, please reach out to us. Our number is 770-314-1285, or check out our website for some beautiful homes, new construction and resale. That's www.georgiaperimeterhomes.com. Thanks, guys. Bye.